Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Elizabeth Burden, your host for AZ Illustrated Arts. Tonight, we look at the process that an artist goes through to not only create art, but also to engage the public in the results. Meet artist Chris Tanz and find out what drives her to create large-scale installations for public spaces. What can art add to an urban landscape? I'll talk with two artists who have worked to transform their creative visions into something that others can share and explore. Go inside the Process Museum, a unique space in Southeast Tucson that defies conventional ideas about how art can be exhibited. And find out how a museum, becoming a sanctuary, can engage this country's most recent arrivals and the wider community. But first, today's top stories.
The town of Marana is making it illegal to operate medical-grade marijuana farms within its boundaries. The mayor says he's in favor of the ban because of worries about shipments of marijuana being robbed while in transport from a farm to another destination. A company had recently proposed an indoor marijuana farm in Marana, but the town's police chief became concerned and proposed the ban on such facilities. Marana has 2 medical marijuana dispensaries that can still operate in town. The city of Tucson is proposing a fare increase for passengers who use the Sunvan transportation service, which provides rides for individuals with certain disabilities. Under the proposal, the low-income fare of $1 per trip would be phased out beginning next month, and the new single fare for all passengers would reach $3 in July of 2014. Officials are holding a public hearing about this topic next Tuesday at Tucson City Hall. A local nonprofit organization that provides homebound adults with special diet meals is reaching a milestone in its history. Mobile Meals of Tucson expects to deliver its 100,000th meal later this month, which marks the highest number ever for 1 year since the organization was founded in 1970. The executive director of Mobile Meals says the number reflects the growing need for such services in our community, as well as the group's expanded outreach services in recent years. And the U.S. Census Bureau is reporting information about marriages in the United States. The agency says 7% of married couples in this country include spouses of different races, but the number is higher in Arizona, where more than 9% of married couples are made up of different races. In most U.S. states, less than 6% of married people have a spouse of a different race. Only 3 states, California, Hawaii, and Nevada, plus Washington, D.C., have a higher percentage. And that's a look at tonight's headlines.
Chris Tanz is an artist who often creates on a large scale, and examples of her work can be found across Arizona. She says public art is an inclusive process that requires cooperation between many groups. But Tanz remains mindful of the people who will one day be interacting with her creations. Luis Carrion brings us the profile.
We first met Chris Tanz a few years ago at the site of her then recent Sun Circle public art installation along the Rillito River path.
People show up for sunrise on the summer solstice, the winter solstice, the equinoxes.
This project was funded in part by Pima County Parks and Recreation and the Pima County Regional Flood Control District. Tanz says the work has connections with astronomy and archaeology and allows visitors to explore the seasonal patterns of the sun.
We're rather detached from these patterns. We don't depend on them the way people used to. People were more exposed to them because they didn't have electric lights and they were living outdoors, so they would see what the sun was doing every day, where it rose, where it set. And we see a few sunrises, we see a few sunsets scattered around, and we don't make the observations.
Tanz's most recent public art project is titled Joining Hands. It's located adjacent to Julian Wash on the southeast side of Tucson.
My idea with the public art was to have a focal point in all this vast openness.
The Joining Hands project is part of the bike and pedestrian pathway that will eventually encircle the entire city of Tucson. The art piece, says Tanz, is meant to highlight the various layers of meaning that can be found along this particular stretch of the path.
I'm interested in uncovering those layers, partly for myself, but also for the community. Here, in these areas, people have found residues of the ancient cultures that lived here. pottery made by the Hohokam people who lived here 1,000 years ago. I like to bring that kind of thing to visibility so people can make connections with, in this case, with the ancient people, in other cases with other things like the local geology or local myths, but connecting, bringing out the layers that exist potentially in any spot.
Tanz says the figures holding hands are inspired by the large Hohokam pots used in ceremonies by ancient inhabitants of this region. The figures are an emblem of communal life and represent cooperation, she says. This cooperation, she points out, is also a characteristic particular to the way public art projects come together.
You know, economically, it involves all kinds of segments of the community. So there was Cade, there was Martin Rockworks, there was the big crane company that came and delivered the panel. So public art actually creates jobs and work during the construction process.
Tanz says the Joining Hands project is a collaboration between the city of Tucson, the county, and the University of Arizona.
And I was thinking about how the park will go all the way around the city, and it's a collaborative project between different government agencies. And I thought, what could be a better image for the spot than this ancient communal image? Because that's what it is. These hand-holding images are images of community. There's a plaque that explains these connections and I think makes it more available for people to reflect on and think about.
Tanz says she hopes to continue working on more public art projects in the future.
While artists are mindful of the people who will interact with their work, we are often unaware of all the art around us. Public art can be part of roadways, bridges, architecture, and spaces that we use every day. I spoke with artists Simon Donovan and Blessing Hancock about what they think it adds to our community. Why do public art?
It's a very different animal than work that you make for a gallery or museum. I kind of fell into it, not necessarily setting out to be a public artist, but I have, of course, formed many opinions about the value.
What is the value of public art?
Well, I think that a lot of people will never go into a museum or an art gallery, and thus they're not exposed to art. And here they have an opportunity to see things, and it enriches lives, even if it's unconscious.
I feel that public art is really about giving people new experiences. So whether the economy is down or up, people are always looking for something new and exciting and fresh, something they can identify with, and that really brings culture together. So all of that public art inspires.
So I know both of you are also artists that are working on newer projects, upcoming projects, the streetcar, Art Along the Streetcar being one. Tell us a little bit about that project and the process that you're going through to develop the pieces.
Well, we are doing the streetcar stop on Granada and Cushing Street. So it's by the convention center. And right now it's like a sea of parking. It's, you know, there's no identity in the area. And our stop is based on the concept Simon came up with for the overall line called Flow. And within ours, we have these series of triangles suspended in the air, and they're all electronically controlled. So when you touch them, the colors change.
I should say, first of all, the past number of years, I've been working collaboratively with the artist Ben Olmsted. He's a sculptor. And together on the streetcar project, we were both the planning artists and we're working on a piece for one particular stop, and for most of the other stops have an art element as well. So what our concept was, and with Flow, was to collaborate with the U of A Poetry Center to provide something that was not static, something was ever changing. So we've installed these electronic reader boards. Well, we will be installing electronic reader boards into most of this, what's called the simple stops, that do not have other art elements, and there'll be fresh poetry every week.
What are you hoping to achieve with these two particular pieces? Both of them have an element of interaction or participation of the viewer. What are you hoping to accomplish with that?
Yeah, I think people expect more now out of public art. Yeah. It can't just be something, imposed on a site with no relationship to the community that surrounds it. So often we get the public involved early on in the process, whether that's through workshops and things like that. But interactivity is another way. So physical interactivity kind of adds another layer of, what people can show and tell each other when they come and visit the piece.
And words, combining words with image?
Yes, well actually we start off the line at Helen with a giant head made out of 8,000 laser cut steel letters. They're all being welded together to form a giant head of a poet who will be blowing letters into the first reader board, starting off the line of poetry. Words, poetry does not get its equal share of recognition, and it's nice to be able to bring it into the public realm.
Both of the pieces that you're talking about sound to me like they involve working with a number of different types of, not just artists, but perhaps engineers or fabricators. What's the process of bringing your concept to fruition? How many different kinds of people do you need to work with?
Well, I think we probably both have a different process. I collaborate with Joe O'Connell, who's done a number of pieces in Tucson, and he owns the fabrication shop Creative Machines. And there they help us design, fabricate everything from installation all the way through. So there's about 15 artists there, so it's this great collaborative, we go back and forth from prototyping, and then we get the engineers involved. Everything's structurally engineered, sometimes electronically engineered. But as an artist doing public art, you need to wear a lot of hats. The creative part of the process is actually very minimal. And then getting it done is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, you're essentially a general contractor. But one thing that I'd like to remind people of, because often people complain about the cost of public art. It's 1% of new construction with projects. It actually feeds a huge portion of the community. I employ a number of people in fabricating certain elements. Other artists often they're involved in doing installation, but there's there's the steel company that's local. There's electronics company that's local. The money spreads out.
So beyond its intrinsic value, there's also an economic value to the work.
Right. We don't make a lot of money, in case anyone's wondering about on public art. It's the profit is pretty minimal.
Well, I wanted to thank you both for coming in today and joining us in this conversation about public art.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks.
President Obama arrived in Russia for a summit with world leaders, a meeting overshadowed by tensions around a strike on Syria.
Tonight, we hear from former National Security Advisor Brent Scowcroft and former diplomat Chris Hill. And we continue our talks with members of Congress about Syria. Tonight, Democratic Congressman Alan Grayson.
Then from Western Massachusetts, a story about a county taking going local to a whole new level by printing its own money.
It's about community support. It's about shopping local. It's about sustainability right here where we live and we work.
The internet's making its way into our cars, our refrigerators, even our toilets. Ari Srinivasan asks, does that make it easier for hackers to disrupt our daily lives?
And it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the story of Superman through the ages.
There's no more symbolic character than Superman, who created the archetype of the superhero, and everything that has come after him that's touched on the idea of somebody who dresses up in a weird outfit and fights for the powers of good comes from him.
That's all ahead on tonight's NewsHour.
The war in Syria started simply, protesters demanding freedom from a dictator. Now the rebels include groups linked to Al-Qaeda.
Right now, the extremist groups are appearing more dominant simply because they've been much better equipped and better resourced.
Sorting out the Syrian rebels on the next morning edition from NPR News.
An industrial neighborhood may seem like an unlikely place for an art gallery, but a former mining company headquarters on Tucson's southeast side has now been transformed into the Process Museum. As we'll learn next from Luis Carreon, this unconventional space is already attracting the brave and the curious to explore the art that lies within.
From the moment you enter the Process Museum, it becomes clear this is not an ordinary art museum. This art collection is housed in what used to be the headquarters of the Anaconda Copper Mining Company, and the long corridors and small rooms make for a challenging exhibition space.
We are in a 77,000 square foot building in Tucson, Arizona at Kolb and I-10 at a collection called the Process Museum.
John Wells is the executive director and founder of the Process Museum. He owns a medical equipment manufacturing company, which is housed in a small corner of this sprawling building, but he says his real passion is art.
Well, I have a background in accounting and finance, and in high school, I became vaguely aware of art.
Wells says it was the large painting titled Children Playing with Fire by the Mexican artist Rufino Tamayo that first sparked his interest in the process of art.
And it was very disorienting and strange, and in my mind, all wrong. And it really captured me. And from that point on, I really started looking at art very carefully, and it really, I'm sort of addicted because of it.
Wells says he's interested in exploring what happens in the mind of an artist as they engage in the process of creation. And he's not necessarily looking for finished masterpieces.
It's not about their psychology, it's not about their history, it's not about how to make art, it's more the mind of the artist while they're doing their art. And it's something of a fool's errand possibly, but the idea was that if I gathered the work, it would reveal something about the inner workings of the artist. And so the collection is made up of a relatively few artists, number of artists, but with it, I have many, many pieces for an individual artist, and it will track their development and their growth as an artist.
Actually, I got to see the stuff that he saw, and I found it as beautiful as the stuff that I was doing.
Jean-Paul Pluguet is one of the artists that Wells collects. He splits his time between Tucson and New York City.
But it sort of reflects on some of the much earlier stuff that I've done.
He says working with the Process Museum, where he also has a studio, has allowed him to open up to new ways of looking at art.
It made me more aware, and made me not be scared to take on things that I don't really normally do in my work. And so that has helped me be more focused and expand into what I'm trying to accomplish.
You never know when you're going to get an idea, you know.
Michael Cajero is another artist that Wells collects. He's a prolific sculptor whose work explores the human experience.
I like this.
And he says his pieces benefit from this unique exhibition space.
When I moved my collection here of all the work to this building, I loaded up, I did all the curating, I did all the installations, and it was the first time in my life I'd been able to work with space the way I wanted to work with space.
Cajero says the Process Museum provides a venue for his art that would not be possible in another setting.
Each room has a different installation. They deal with different ideas, different themes. I draw in space, that's what I do.
The luxury of being able to draw in space and utilize a former mining company building to explore ideas in art is what Wells has in mind as he continues to develop the Process Museum.
This is from Marfa, Texas.
He says not all the work here may fit people's definition of what makes good art, but it's the work that keeps him interested in exploring the process of art.
Completely impressed with
some of my favorite pieces in my collection are works that actually challenged me. In some cases, it's taken me years to essentially fall in love with them or to really understand them. And I think that in itself is exciting and fun. That's one of the reasons I really love art.
Wells says art should be an everyday part of life, and he does not charge admission to the Process Museum, which is open to the public by appointment.
How much does being safe mean to your well-being? While it is something that many Americans take for granted, safety has often been elusive for some of Arizona's newest residents. An innovative program at the Tucson Museum of Art is using self-expression as a means to create sanctuary. And here to tell us more about it are Marge Pellegrino, project manager of the Hopi Foundation's Owl and Panther project, Metasebia Tefera, an artist, and Morgan Wells, Curator of Education and Community Partnerships at the Tucson Museum of Art. Thank you all for joining me.
Thanks for having us, Elizabeth.
So how did this collaboration come about, Marge?
Well, we were really excited that the Tucson Museum of Art contacted us. They knew about the work we were doing with refugees around expressive arts, and they called us at the perfect time, and we've been collaborating with them for the last 3 years.
Tell us a little bit more about that project. What are you doing with the expressive arts?
We work with refugees who've experienced traumatic dislocation. And we come together as a community every Tuesday night during the school year, and we do different experiences in the community. We might be at Tucson Village Farm, we might be at Sonora Co-Housing, we might be at the Arizona State Museum. And so we create expressive arts programming and experiences in the community and in nature to have these folks who are new to the country come together as a community and begin to heal.
Morgan, why would an art museum engage with a project of this type?
Well, as an educator, I feel that we really want to be a part of the community. And here in Tucson, our refugee population is quite large. And so it kind of seemed natural, you know, to kind of invite them in and to make them feel at home within the museum. And so that's really where we started. So, I mean, as my title says, it's community partnerships. We're really about the community partnerships, at least within the education department.
What do you think is an important part of the process of making people feel at home in a museum who may not have had that experience before?
Well, we try to show them that art doesn't need to be intimidating. You know, we try to make it as easy as possible, speak the same language that we all speak, you know, that art may be intimidating, but we can show them that it doesn't have to be, you know? And so that's really what we've tried to do. And with the Owl and Panther project, we've really tried to do that and, you know, even make them feel more comfortable with speaking English within the galleries and really make them feel that this is home almost, you know, that they feel at home within the galleries.
So, Metasebia, what's it been like for you to participate in the project and what have you learned?
I like to participate in the Owl and Panther. I improve my English. I know so many people, and then I get love and support from voluntary. I learned how to improve my drawing and painting.
Wonderful. So, Marge, how many artists and participants are there in this particular program or in this exhibition?
Well, there are 30 artists, and we've got 6 adults, and the rest are youth, because we are an intergenerational program. So not everyone is a few of our clients have just flown off today to Ohio, but this has been their participation in the last 3 years. So,
what's the difference between working with youth and working with adults in this process?
Well, when we work with adults as well, everybody gets a chance to do this expressive arts, and it's wonderful. When was the last time you were invited to pick up a paintbrush? You know, it feels really good. It's awesome. There's no expectations. You're the boss of what happens. But we also get to model to our parents another way to be with their kids in a really positive way. And coming together with community, sometimes our parents will come and leave the kids at home. They really love to be there and to take part in the project.
What do you feel is the value of this project for the families? Well, Morgan?
Well, I really feel like it brings us all together, even, you know, all of the families, like we're one big family, you know, especially when we're all interacting. And, you know, some people might feel uncomfortable at times, you know, especially when we push them to paint maybe a self-portrait. But I think that we all kind of come together, especially the families. You know, if someone doesn't understand or needs help, you always see them working together. So I think that's really important. It's a really important component of the program.
And Marge, what do you think is the value for the community?
Well, this particular show, I think, is going to be highlight that refugees are very similar to everybody else, and also highlight the richness of the cultures that they're bringing to our community. Tucson, we're kind of lucky to be a resettlement city, one of 24 in the country. And so all these new Americans are bringing this rich culture that they have with them to Tucson, and here it is.
So, Sabia, tell us about the painting that you'll have in the show.
I have in the show like my future Metasebia, that mean like my future myself, and then I draw the background, like the background it tells about bright life with my family, and also the flag it tells where I come from.
And why did you do a self-portrait, a picture of yourself?
Because I need to know, like, now I am like 14 years old, next time I'm like 34, like something like that, how I can be like my face, what it look like, that's I try like that.
So, Marge, talk us through a little bit of the process that you walk participants through. Where do you start and how do you progress over the weeks that you're working with the participants?
At the Tucson Museum of Art? Well, we're really lucky that we have Morgan, who is there every night, and Mariana Pegnow, who are really the boss of us at the. So when people come in, we greet them and we do some right starts, they do some writing, and they get right into the projects. What's been really interesting is the Tucson Museum of Art is so wonderful with the kids. We had one guy who said, it's kind of like this one day, and Mariana came up to him and said, if you had any format at all, any kind of art to do, what would you do? And he said, electronics. And she disappeared and came back in the room, and she had wire. And so when you come and see his work in the show, you're going to know this kid because he's got wire. He's outlined things in wire. So it was something that motivated him, and they responded to it. It's just been wonderful.
Morgan, what's different in curating this kind of a show than a standard museum exhibition?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I think that this one, we don't have a set checklist. That's how we kind of organize other shows. That these artworks already existed when you create a show. And this one, we had the idea of doing a show, and then we had to create artwork to fill the show. And it's also education-based, which is also very different from a typical show, especially at the museum. So we're basically displaying our program's work so that everybody knows what we do there as an educational institution behind just putting on exhibitions. So,
what do you hope people will walk away from the exhibition with?
I think a better understanding of their community, you know, that these people are in their community. I know before I started working at Tucson, the Tucson Museum of Art, I didn't know that we had such a large refugee population. So, you know, I think a lot of people will learn that and learn that these people are very important to our community.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
That's our show for tonight. To post a comment on any of these stories or to keep up with the latest news, visit our website, azpm.org. I'm Elizabeth Burden. Thank you for watching.